Industrial Talk is brought to you by Palo Alto Networks. Palo Alto Networks offers zero trust for your operational technology without the PTSD. If you're in the digital transformation game, keeping operational technology secure and running smoothly is a tall order. It's enough to make any coolest operations director wake up in night sweats. Palo Alto Networks Zero Trust OT Security delivers comprehensive visibility and security for all OT assets, networks, and remote operations. It provides best-in-class security while simplifying OT security management. It sees and protects everything in the network, and it automates threat detection while implementing zero trust across all operations. So sleep better at night knowing you have the most comprehensive platform to detect, manage, and secure your OT assets. Learn more about the Palo Alto Networks Zero Trust solution. Go out to PaloAltoNetworks.com. That's PaloAltoNetworks.com. Find out more. You will not be disappointed.
Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, and thank you for your continued support of a platform that celebrates industry professionals all around the world. You are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, you innovate, you collaborate, you solve problems, and you make the world a better place. Why not celebrate you? That's what this is all about. We are once again broadcasting Nashville, Tennessee. We are at the Gaylord. And I guarantee you, Greg, did you get lost at the Gaylord?
I've been lost many times. I'm lucky to be here this morning.
Look, everybody gets lost. It's a common conversation. And this is Accruent Insights, and it's a collection of professionals that are really passionate about solving problems right here, right now. And we've got two gents. You heard one. His name is Greg. The other one's Dan. We're going to be talking a little healthcare. We're going to be talking about CMMS, and we're going to be talking about how do we bring in 17 hospitals under one platform. I'm glad I'm on this side of the mic. Let's get cracking. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being available. Thanks for drawing the short straw. Because somebody came by and said, hey, you guys got to be on the podcast, right? Did somebody say that?
That's pretty much how it happened, yes.
Like somebody from Accruent said, hey, you need to be on the podcast. and of course,
yesterday I was all dressed up, so they thought I was somebody. Today I'm back to normal. So
that's not a problem, man. And you look great. You're all normal looking. All right, for the listeners out there, let's start with you, Dan. Give us a little background on who you are.
I'm Dan Roberts. I'm a coordinator for CMMS Asset Management at OSF HealthCare. I have a background as a technician and worked in healthcare for a short time, coming up on 6 years, and really an exciting time right now in my career as, like you said, we're taking on the behemoth of a job of standardizing asset management codes across 17 acute care medical centers and about 300 plus medical office buildings.
You're next. Give us a little background.
So I'm an engineer by trade. I grew up in a manufacturing realm, more in discrete manufacturing, heavy equipment manufacturing, and was in that really most of my career. Here about 5 years ago, moved into healthcare, and it's been really exciting. Healthcare is very interesting, moves a lot faster than I thought it would. It's been a very interesting ride.
See, I would imagine that. That's an interesting sort of epiphany. I am shocked. Because you're going to have 17 hospitals, a gazillion assets. And Dan's like he's 22, and he's going to probably retire on the project. How big is your team, Dan?
Our team is primarily Greg and myself. Yeah. We have a lot of stakeholders, a lot of people who are looking for answers and solutions.
It's just you two doing this?
Kind of unique, yes, just the two of them. Now, we've had a lot of support along the way, upper management, a lot of support, but pretty much Dan and I carrying the load right now.
Okay, so does OSF stand for something?
It does. It's an acronym that is postnomial of sorts. We're a faith-based organization that is founded by the Sisters of the Third Order of St. Francis. So OSF indicates that they are of that Third Order of St. Francis.
Oh, there you go. I like that a lot. Because I'm going, OSF must stand something, right?
Yeah.
Very good. I like that. St. Francis. I like it. All right. So, what was the point in time when somebody says, "Hey, we've got 17 hospitals, and yeah, we're managing this one this way, and we're managing that one the other way, and this one we don't like to mention just because, well, that's a challenge," and so on and so forth. How long did it take, Greg, for this whole sort of decision to say, "Hey, let's start pulling all this stuff together"? And what was that, breaking point?
You're exactly right. There came a point where we knew we were disparate, and we've added a few new hospitals in the last few years.
Gosh.
So we had 8 that were on one system and 7 that were all on something different. And we realized that everybody's doing their own thing. There's no standardization. And if we're going to roll up all of the information we need to manage our capital, our assets, we're going to have to get on a common system. So we started that venture we were coming off a failed implementation, actually. We tried to implement a system over 2 years, and it did not go well. So probably about 2.5 years ago, we met with management, and they said, "Hey, we need a new system." We said, "Agree." And we asked, "Hey, we need some support. We need a commitment from you if it's going to be successful, for manpower and for time and resources." And we got that commitment from upper management, which has been key to our success.
In that prior failed, project, did you do any sort of root cause on what was the challenge? Not to say any names or anything like that. That's not what I'm just. What was sort of the reasoning behind, or sort of upon reflection, what was the reasoning behind the unsuccessful project?
I'll go ahead and jump in. Dan's a little bit newer to it, so
Never
he
mind.
wasn't there for that.
I'll push Dan aside. Never mind. Let me look over here.
We number one, we didn't have a great consulting experience. That was key. Somebody who was really knowledgeable about our industry as well as the product. The product itself was a little bit weak, and I don't think we had the upper management commitment to provide the resources we needed to implement. And that's why we hit it so hard. It takes a lot of work to implement successfully, and to bring all those 17 together, we knew that we had to standardize across the organization. And so for all those reasons, it was just not a success.
See, it always gets down, from my perspective, that human component. I guess what is surprising, because many companies, once they have a challenging implementation that didn't go well, to actually have another stab at it, it's like you get one shot at or one bite at the apple, and then all of a sudden it's like, nah, we're going to continue to limp along for as long as I possibly. This is kudos to the organization for still saying, hey, we still need to do that, which is.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. In fact, our senior VP was really kind of sticking himself out, right? Because we just spent X number of dollars trying to implement a system that failed. Now you're going to come back and ask for an additional amount to do it again. And so we had to convince him that we were up for the challenge, and then it was his job to go up and argue for that.
Dan, why is it important to be able to bring all of these businesses together under one CMMS?
There really is so many advantages. To really start to answer that question, it helps to provide a state of the state, so to speak. Our infrastructures are facing a lot of deferred maintenance needs.
I call that sweating the asset.
Sweating the assets.
Yeah. Take it, run with it.
And so there really is this need to get organized and to really take a good, detailed look at what needs to get done and when it needs to get done, and how are we going to provide information to the finance team on.
But it has bottom line value. I mean, it's got to have that business reason. You're not just doing it because it's the right thing to do. Let's just sort of lay it out there. And I still think if I could talk to the senior VP, a couple more people would be probably beneficial.
Thank you. That's okay.
Yeah, that's right. This is to you, senior VP. A couple more people. Trust me, being a part of other implementations, this is a monumental task. But it's still important. There's a recognition that there needs to be some visibility into the asset as a whole and across multiple businesses. Are they all located, the hospitals located in one geographical location or across multiple states? What sort of
We're spread over the state of Illinois and Michigan. So geographically, we're in that area. I will say, I could give an analogy, like you're painting a picture. If you're on 16 different CMMSs, you're trying to paint a picture of what your asset conditions look like and what replacement costs and capital planning is going to look like. You're using a bunch of different mediums, and it's not going to be a clear picture in the end. However, if we're all on the same CMMS, that's going to be one type of medium on a clean canvas, and we can start building this clear picture. It's going to take some time. Maybe.
But are you going to do it incrementally in a sense, like, okay, property A, and we're going to merge property A and property B together under one and get that taken care of, and then so on. What does that implementation look like?
We really need to bring them all on at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's a
Back
little
to
bit
the
of
senior
incremental.
VP. Just FYI, you just need more people. Okay, there you go.
From a corrective, reactive work order, system, we got everybody on at the same time. So any one of our 20,000 plus employees can enter a work request at any one of our 17 hospitals. And so, there's it's too hot in here. There's a wet spot on the floor. There's a machine that's not working. Can come from anywhere at any time. We had to have that all come up at the same time. From a preventive maintenance standpoint, there is kind of a transition as we take them off of their own old legacy systems onto the new one. We want to make sure we stay compliant with Joint Commission, so we got to make sure we do that in a logical process.
And the other side to it too is that there's the asset management side, the capital planning side, but also our corrective maintenance, right? Our users of our facilities and our patients, their experience in our buildings, this can all be tracked in one source, and we can really get a handle on the communication aspect of this is what needs attention in the building. And here's the process, here's the workflow, right? CMMS is, for those who don't know, that's going to standardize the process across the board through all of our system.
In many of the conversations I've had, there is the conversation around the data, right? How far back, the cleaning of the data, the normalizing of the data, and getting it so that you get to a point where you feel confident in the data. What is that strategy for you guys to do that, to take all of these legacy systems, get rid of the ones you want, whatever the strategy is?
Yeah, that's a great question. We made a decision that the work order history that we had from all of the sites would remain where it was. We wouldn't try and bring that over. because it was so different. The data, the codes are different. The way they used the data was different. The way the number of assets they tracked was different. So we said, okay, we're going to leave that where it was, and we're going to mark a point in the sand. From this point forward, we're going to start tracking that all in the single system. Historically, we've got that data if we need to pull on it from the last 2 or 3 years, but moving forward, it's all going to be in one spot, one system.
What's the timeline on this thing? I mean, come on.
Well, we're on the corrective maintenance side. We are live. We've been live for about a year, and that has been a work in progress. We're really just kind of focusing on the corrective maintenance side. Is really still ironing out the wrinkles in locations, very granular locations that, as the services that we provide changes, that landscape changes a lot in healthcare. It's pretty dynamic. So, keeping up with that code, that's part of your workload in the system. And then a timeline as far as building our preventive maintenance schedules. We're probably looking, at the pace we've been going, we're probably looking at 2 years. It's very stop and go. Things come up. We get surveyed. Our hospitals go through various schedules of things they have to do outside of this extra implementation, right? So this extra implementation is something that we kind of have to wrangle people in to get them to focus on it for a period of time, and then they don't have that time. So the timeline is kind of this moving and evolving thing. We're told that to get to where we want to be in our CMMS, it's going to be about a 5-year journey to where we're really tuned in and it's dialed in and looking the way we want it to.
Yeah, that seems to be reasonable because all I could think of from my perspective in listening to what you have to say is that there's assets. There's assets galore, and it's trying to get it into a common platform and get it so that you're not, you put it in correctly, and then you try to get the data. Oh, I just, kudos to you guys because and it makes sense. It's the right thing to do. Again, to the senior vice president, I think that they need help.
I like this guy. That's good. We didn't pay him yet, did you?
No, it's just because there's this little side thing. Let's say, and this is just a horrible example. So I've got paddles, whatever the zappers. I got paddles in one hospital, then they're not the same. You've got different pieces of equipment that do maybe similar things, but they're just different.
Yeah, and
it's just like,
oh yeah, and they're called different things, and then you can't find them, right? Yeah. And so in ours, and so now we're facilities maintenance. So a hospital's there to heal people, to help people get better, to take care of the emotional and the physical well-being, and we've got doctors and nurses and a lot of equipment that they use. We don't represent any of that equipment. We are the air handlers, the boilers, the chillers, the things that keep you hot and cold and comfortable, and the operating rooms at the right temperature and humidity. So when it comes time to go to upper management and say, hey, we've only got so many dollars and we need this many dollars to fix our assets or maintain them, we are going up against MRIs and CT equipment, and so we really have to justify the needs that we have.
You guys were great. I could keep on going. I had the wrap-up sign behind you, so you didn't see it, but it is. I got to wrap it up.
Okay.
How do people get a hold of you?
Probably go through our
So if they're saying, hey, I want to know more, because you guys are If not, it's not a big deal.
You can email me at daniel.r.roberts@osfhealthcare.org.
Okay, good.
You can use mine as well.
All right,
yeah.
I got both of them. All right. You guys were great, by the way. All right, listeners, we're going to wrap it up on the side. We're going to have all the contact information for these two gents out on Industrial Talk. Thank you once again for joining, and thank you for your support. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
That was the Greg and Dan Show. Accruent Insights was the event. Healthcare. Asset management as it pertains to healthcare. That is a tiger by the tail. Kudos to both Greg and Dan for the deployment of a CMMS system that can handle all of that. Ooh, boy, that is great work on their part. All right, Industrial Talk is a platform for you. It is made up of education, collaboration, and of course, we need to innovate. That's what Industrial Talk is all about. We have podcasts, we have webcasts, we have a learning management system, we attend events. We want you to be a part of this ever-expanding ecosystem. Go out to Industrial Talk, find out more. It's easy. You want to connect with me? You want to amplify your voice? Click. Hi, Scott, I want to amplify my voice. That's what that's all about. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with Greg and Dan. Change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly, so stay tuned.